first of all, I want to say you have to have a conversation about equity. And there are lots of equity. There's racial equity issues, there's an economic issue. You have to have a conversation about the fact that not all people are experiencing housing in the exact same way, and that there are issues in this community and across the country that are really tough. Right? You have to have a conversation about folks who are not, it's not just general housing, but why is it that, right, some folks are experiencing a harder time? You gotta be courageous enough to have that conversation. And I know race is hard. Race is we in this country, it's hard. It was hard in 1968, right, when you had, and it's still hard today, but you got to have that conversation. You gotta put it on the table, right? And I would say that for two reasons. One, because you can't solve the affordable housing issue without having a conversation about race, because when people think about affordable housing, they often think about people of color. They align the two, even when they don't say it. If you don't address it, it's like the elephant in the room that just never gets, there's not a conversation. You got to address it, right? But also, for all those folks who are thinking about racial equity issues, if you don't talk about housing, you can't address it, because housing is central to the way that people build wealth. So if you're thinking about the racial wealth, you can't solve it without talking about housing. So from the vantage point of these conversations, I want you to be in your group thinking about how do we address that in a very sensitive and thoughtful way. As people who are centering and coming from a place of love. Be Rousean today. Jim Rouse said, I don't care, we're going to have a swimming pool in every community because I know I want everybody to feel like they belong to this place. What does it mean to have everybody feel like they belong here? No matter what race or ethnicity they are, no matter where they come from, no matter how they got here, they belong here. How do you talk about those issues? How do you begin those, right? I'm less concerned about the how and more concerned about the fact that you do, right? And start slowly. You don't have to go out and sort of, shout at the rooftops, but have that conversation. Bring it into how do we make everybody feel like they're welcome in this community and address some of those issues that are challenging. The second thing is building a sense of we and why. Before, some of us, I would say, some of us lead with how many, that's our numbers, or what we do. Well, we build houses, we do this way, and we do, right? People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And they buy it when they see they have a stake in your why. For those of you who, I would encourage you to read a book by Simon Sinek. If you haven't read his book called Start With Why, you should listen to his TED Talk. Fabulous. And he just talks about cognitive science. People don't, right? Actually, Apple Watch, they don't sell you with, sell you a watch based on what the watch does. You only got to watch. The watch does the same thing your watch on the wrist does. Right? They sell you this fancy $400 version of the watch based on who you are and what's the bigger why and who you want to be. Like, that's what marketers do. They figure out who you want to be and they try to, you are technology savvy and you are blah, 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 blah. Like, for them, that's their why. But for us, in terms of how, why are you doing this? The bigger why. Not because you know how to build a structure with 4 walls and you can do it, and it costs as much, but because you want a better future for your children. Because you want Columbia to be a place where people, no matter where you start in life, you got a shot at something bigger. You got a shot at success, that people who live here have a shot at some real opportunities. You may start off at the bagging groceries, but darn it, you got a shot at something bigger if you want it, if you live in this community. That's the why. People buy into the why, they don't buy into the what. So starting off that conversation, you're not starting off with negatives today. You're going to anchor people on solutions, and you're going to tell people why you want them to lean in. The bigger why, not the small why of what you do. Position people as part of the story. See, she knows that. She's like, yep, I need to be inside the story. And repositioning that way also values the folks who are getting affordable housing. Sometimes we can stigmatize folks who need affordable housing. It also makes them feel valuable. So yes, right? You need me. I may be just a bagger at the grocery store, but yeah, you're saying to me, you need me. I belong to this community. I belong here too. I have a place here too. That's powerful. People who never saw themselves part of this story are now in it. And people who are already in it see themselves as being valuable, right, to folks who before were just kind of an afterthought. Wow. Repositioning people as part of the story in a different way is powerful. So one of the things I want you to imagine as we go down to our breakout groups is, who needs to be in this conversation and they don't even know it, right? Who is impacted by this and they don't ever think about it. They don't ever stop to think about how their lives are impacted by this issue and why they should be deeply, deeply involved.